Welcome to the ASUN Conference Women's Basketball Preseason Show, as we're only 10 days away from first tip in the 2016-17 season. Last year, FGCU collected the regular season title for the sixth straight year, while the second-seeded Jacksonville Dolphins stunned the Eagles in the nest, snapping a 71-game home win streak against conference competition and claiming the ASUN championship crown for the first time in school history. The Eagles rebounded, advancing all the way to the championship game of the WNIT. The upcoming season promises more of the same thrill-a-minute action, as the Dolphins return 83% of their point production from last year, while FGCU will have to replace WNBA first-round pick Whitney Knight in order to claim a seventh consecutive regular season crown. Joining us now in studio is ASUN Commissioner Ted Gumbart. And Ted, how important was it that Jacksonville won last year, creating, I guess, more mystery for the championship round?
Well, it's tremendous for competition and for interest in the league. Florida Gulf Coast has been our standard bearer for many years. They've been to postseason every year since they've been in our conference. But having Jacksonville be a challenger and look to be one of our top preseason pollers, and Stetson historically has given them a lot of challenge. Upstate's a postseason team now. I know that Kennesaw State has a new coach, and she's looking forward to getting them going. And we're just going to have a very close race, but we also think that it's going to be amongst quality teams. So we're not just going to have parity, we're going to have achievement, and that's really important for us, especially rolling into the non-conference, which we open with.
It sounds like FGCU almost has raised the bar, and some of the schools have been able to push forward regarding that.
Absolutely, and as far as Coach Zemesco's program, he's got that to where they can win, and they know that you've got to be as good as FGCU if you want to succeed in ASUN women's basketball. So that is a good challenge to have, and if we can raise the bar, that's good for everybody.
How critical is that to have that balance at the top?
Well, I think it's, from a competitive standpoint, our tournament format rewards the regular season success. So if we can have more engagement with the fans throughout the regular season, we'll have more during postseason. And from our league, half the teams went to postseason play last year, and they went 8-4. So if you're going to have an 8-4 postseason record and half of your teams go from your league, we'll be happy with that.
Well, when you have postseason success, it means there are a lot of good players. And Whitney Knight was a first-round pick last year in the WNBA draft. How important is that to the league's credibility?
Well, again, something like that is outstanding. She was a tremendous player, and it's fun to brag about her career and what she did as an individual and what she helped FGCU do. But it's also really important for recruiting to show that a player that caliber can come to an ASUN school, can succeed, and then can go on to the WNBA. So when you're out recruiting, that's what you can brag about, and that helps everybody.
Indeed it does. We look forward to a great season, and we'll be back with coaches' interviews and a full preview of this 2016-17 season after this commercial break.
Forever looking forward.
We're committed to progress and a bright future.
Together we shine.
We elevate student athletes to create a better world.
Blaze the path.
Undaunted, we challenge norms.
To enlighten and innovate.
It's a new day.
For no matter the height of our obstacles,
They will never block the sun. We can.
Connect.
Put student athletes first.
Impact.
Rise. Every day.
Up first on our ASUN preseason show is NJIT. Their head coach is Steve Lanfear. And Steve, last year the first for NJIT in the conference. So what did you learn in that first go-round?
Yeah, we obviously learned it was a very talented conference, real athletic teams with great coaches. It was a great, obviously, inaugural season for us. Didn't win a lot of basketball games, but kind of learned a lot about us, you know, as a team and the conference overall. And it's a great conference to be part of, and we're really excited to be part of it. And hopefully this year we're going to be more competitive in the conference.
What adjustments did your kids have to make, and who are the kids who are back who you think are going to have an impact this year?
Sure, I think adjustment-wise, the Atlantic Sun overall is a team that they're teams that really get up and down the floor. So we've got to really shore up our defense, especially in transition, be able to kind of stop dribble penetration. And then there's not a great amount of size, but there's really athletic post players that rebound really well. So that's one area we really focused on this year because we were 8th in the conference in rebounding, and I know we'll improve that as we're moving forward. You know, we've got some returners and some newcomers that we're really excited about. Kelly Garino starting her second campaign. You know, she was all freshman team, a very good shooter for us. Coming off, you know, injuries, but she'll be ready to go early in the season. Leah Horton, one of our main post players, a player that can score inside and really rebound. And she had one of the best ASUN games of the year last year with, I think, 16 points and 21 rebounds. And then she unfortunately got hurt early in the conference season. So we'll look for her to provide, some inside scoring for us. We've got a couple new point guards, Amber Morgan from Indianapolis, who should help us, right away, secure that point guard position. Then we have Amari Trueheart from New York, who will be eligible second semester. So come conference time, I feel like we've solidified that point guard position, and that's going to allow Alana Dudley, who was probably our most versatile player last year, to play both wing positions and hopefully provide some more scoring. And she does it all for us in terms of defends really well, runs the floor, and I'm hoping she'll provide more scoring for us.
I know that one of the reasons NJIT came into this conference was because they were such a good fit academically. Address the quality of your student athletes at NJIT.
Yeah, that's one of the most proud aspects of the program. We have kids taking legitimate, really difficult majors. Some of them I can't even explain to them because they're way over my head. But our kids work extremely hard. Academically, our team grade point average is well above 3.1. But we've got engineers, we've got math majors, we've got computer science majors. So they're not only great athletes, they're consummate student athletes. So that's probably what I'm most proud of. They're leaders on and off the court for us.
That is Steve Lanfear. Again, he's the head coach over at NJIT. As you can see, they bring back a double-digit score in Leah Horton, and they open up November 12th against Wagner. Let's move now to number 7 in our preseason poll, and Lipscomb University. Their fifth-year head coach is Greg Brown. And Greg, your team lost 3 players from a year ago, including your top scorer in Ashley Southern. How challenging is it to replace someone of her caliber?
I don't necessarily think you replace her. She was a special player and will always be here. But the recruiting class we brought in, I think as a whole fits the needs that we were missing some gaps. So by committee a little bit, by veterans stepping up and, just building over that we've been here the last 4 years. So we'll do it as a group.
Let's start with one of those veterans who is returning, Alex Banks. She's your leading scorer from a year ago that's back. How has she grown?
Well, she's a fifth-year senior. And that's what we've missed, to be honest, since we've been here. Our seniors that have come up. We've had seniors, but seniors that have come up through our program that know what's us, what's not us. They can teach the drills. They can teach the little things. They know the ins and outs of the university. So that's a vital role for her right there, along with her, her ability to lead and to mentor those guys. And
you've also got your point guard back, the top assist leader in the ASUN from a season ago in Lauren Cagle. How about her leadership on the floor?
Really has matured. She's a quiet kid, but she's really gotten her voice, accepting her voice on the floor, and is continuing to grow in that leadership role to match her play on the floor.
You've got kind of a combination in terms of your recruiting class. Some JUCO players, some freshmen, create some balance. Who are the players who you think have the greatest chance to contribute this year?
Well, the best thing is that we bring back that strong group to go with them. So practice is fun. It's a lot of competition, but obviously the junior college players bring in some depth and some athleticism that we've missed.
Tell me a little bit about your trip to Nicaragua, and how do you think that mission, that group trip, will help you?
Well, I think anytime you can spend that much time together outside yourself serving others, it puts you in a zone outside your comfort zone. It gets you seeing people in so many different roles. They saw me in a different way. My wife and 2 boys went. So it gave us a chance to really just be together with no mask on and just be honest and open with each other. And then, for one of our junior college players, that was the first time she was with us. She was finishing up classes, and Shay met us here on campus, and then we flew out the next day on a mission trip. So that was unique that she could just hop straight in and go with us.
I know you're a good 3-point shooting team, but if you're to move up to the top half of the league this year, what types of things need to go well?
We got to rebound the ball. I think rebounding and taking care of it are huge. I think we'll still shoot the ball well. We've got to get fouled. So I think getting to the line, rebounding the ball, and taking care of it. And I'm sure that's across the board. But for us, we can see huge improvement quickly if we'll take care of those 3 things.
Again, that is Greg Brown. He's the head coach at Lipscomb University. As you can see, their top scorer from a year ago that's returning is Alex Banks, and they're also the top 3-point shooting team in the Atlantic Sun from a year ago. They opened play in Baltimore at Loyola of Maryland. Next up is Kennesaw State. They are picked 6th in the ASUN, and they're the only team in the conference with a new head coach. But Agnes Baronato certainly is not new to coaching. She built up the programs at the University of Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech. Agnes, welcome to the ASUN.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Tell us what excited you about coming to the ASUN and joining Kennesaw State.
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know much about the ASUN, but once I really looked into it, I really believe in the commissioner of the ASUN. I think he's done a marvelous job. I think all the schools have great academic and athletic reputation, and I want to be a part of that. As far as KSU is concerned, I knew about Kennesaw State when I was the head coach at Georgia Tech, but Kennesaw was D2 with 10,000 kids. And when I got the phone call, I was not interested until I talked to Vaughn Williams. And to be honest with you, all you have to do, Neil, is talk to Vaughn Williams. And he's like Jim Jones. I drank the Kool-Aid. And that's why I'm here. I want to be a part of what he's building. I want to be a part of the enthusiasm and the excitement of Kennesaw State. And I really believe in him as an educator. I believe in our president, and I believe in the university.
How about from a basketball sense? Where is it similar and different from your other rebuilding programs?
Wow, great question. I think that it is similar to Georgia Tech. I actually went into Georgia Tech, and it was a pretty established program. But the University of Pittsburgh, we were in the exact same situation. We had never gone to a postseason tournament. We had never really won. Here we really haven't had a 500 season. The change, it was kind of an abrupt change with both places. And I guess the only thing that I can do similar is to be who I am. Like, I have to do Agnes. And that's not for everyone, believe you me. Like, you know, I'm sure these student athletes are like, this lady is whacked. But I don't really care what they think. I'm sure the administration and the facilities, like, you know, sometimes I feel like when you walk down the hall, people look at you and they put their head down, you know, because I won't settle. And that's how I am on the court. I won't settle, but I see tremendous things for Kennesaw State. My goal is to win the conference, cut the nets down, get an ASUN championship ring, and go to the big dance. And that's something that at Pitt we were able to do when we went back-to-back Sweet 16s. And so for me, the future is really bright. And the best thing, though, about Kennesaw State women's basketball is I have the most amazing group of women. These student athletes are amazing, and I absolutely love them like my family.
What are the foundations you're trying to build here in year one? What are the kind of key components you want for your team on the floor?
Well, year one, I think it's a little bit different. I mean, year one, I think you have to really work with culture. And so I'm not going to say about anything on the floor, but culture, you know, about how to look, how to present yourself, how to be out there in the community. We represent Kennesaw State, you know, that we won above a 3.0 academically. This summer, we got a 3.5 total team GPA for the first time. So the intangibles are what's really important to me year one. You know, we want to try to go ahead. We're running a different system. It's going to be we're running. We're going to try to score layups and make free throws. But again, that'll come in the future. You know, I have student athletes that have really bought into me. I know when I'm teaching, I feel them. I feel them shaking their head. I feel them when I call them over and I drop a little play on my hand. They act like they really see it, like they think it's on a wet, dry erase board, and they see it. And then they go out and they execute it. So I just have to put them in a position to try to be successful.
Well, best of luck in doing that. We appreciate some time with the new head coach at Kennesaw State.
Thanks a lot, and good luck to everybody in the conference.
Again, that is Agnes Baronato, head coach at Kennesaw State. They have only 2 seniors on the roster. They also have 10 players who were part of the program last year, and they open up at Vanderbilt on November the 11th. Let's turn now to USC Upstate, which last year set a school record in the ASUN with 22 victories. Their head coach is Tammy George. And Tammy, tell me what it meant to have that kind of season, not only the year you had, but for the program overall.
It was just awesome, you know, for our senior group to go out that way, and just, you know, for recruiting to continue to set the tone for what we want to do every year. That's, you know, we just want to be a successful team and do some great things on the court.
What types of things do you want to kind of pick up from going into this season? What was kind of set forward by that senior group?
I felt like we got some great leadership from our seniors, and hopefully, I know Raven's the lone senior this year, but she has a lot of, shoes to fill. But I think she's doing a great job thus far, and just continue to have that leadership and set the tone on and off the court for what we want in our program.
You mentioned Raven. Raven Jefferson is your senior. She's a preseason all-conference player. What types of responsibilities are kind of added to her plate this year on and off the floor from a year ago?
Well, like I just said, obviously some leadership. Raven has been a great player for us for 3 straight years, and she's obviously been on a very good team last year and kind of got overshadowed. But she's been a very good player. She works hard on both ends, and we just look for her to bring some leadership to us.
In terms of scoring, how big a losses are those seniors that you lost, and who are the other players in addition to Raven Jefferson who may make up for that loss?
Obviously, we lost a big chunk. Brittany Starling, 1,000 points, 1,000 rebounds. Kristen Dickerson, I think she averaged like 10, 11 points a game. Brittany Clincy, double figures. But this year, we just got some big shoes to fill. We look for, last year, Tamara Thorpe played a reserve role, played about 18 minutes a game. Lex Davis came off the bench, had a reserve role. So we look for those to step up this year and help us. We do have some additions in Brittany Delva, a JUCO player. We look for her to help us run our offense. I think right now she's the leading candidate for replacing Clincy at the point guard spot. I look for her to step in and really run the offense for us.
Who among the other newcomers do you think have a chance to have a pretty good impact during the course of this coming season?
Hopefully all 3 of them will be able to contribute. We have 3 freshmen, 2 guards, and a post player. I like Riley Parkhurst. She's a shooter from Ohio. I look for her to come off the bench and get some shots for us. And then Riley Popplewell from Indiana is, I think she'll add some athleticism and stuff at the post.
That is Tammy George. Again, she is the head coach at USC Upstate. You see Raven Jefferson is their top returning scorer. They won 22 games a season ago. Next up is the University of North Florida, and their second-year head coach is Derek Gibbs. Derek, tell me what you learned in year 1 and how you think it will help you in year 2.
One of the big things that came up last year is simply just, really, really catering to our personnel and making sure that we put our players in the right positions to be successful. We came in and had an idea of what we wanted to do and ended up having to change some things to kind of fit our personnel better. This year, I think, we're going into it with that in mind and really putting our players in a position to do well. We have a better feel of what they can do. So it's not necessarily evaluating now. It's more so of having a really good idea of what they're doing, what they can do, and then taking advantage of that. So, that's one of the things that I think from a basketball X's and O's standpoint, I think we'll take from year 1 to year 2.
You also have a full complement of players where you didn't last year. You had just 8 players last year. How much will that help in practice and also in game preparation?
Yeah, it'll help in all aspects. I mean, we've got 6 young ladies that'll play this year that didn't play at all last year for us, and I think that's going to be big. We have an opportunity to obviously in practice actually play 5-on-5 without using practice guys, and then also having a lot of versatility in what we can do and how we can do it. I think we want to play fast and want to get up and play up tempo, and this will allow us to do that a little bit more because we'll have more depth.
Of the players that are returning, though, you have 2 very talented ones who were preseason all-conference, Claire Ionides and Sierra Shepard. What did they mean to last year, and how do you think they'll grow this year?
We relied on them heavily last year. I mean, they were our top 2 scorers, led us in assists, led us in field goal, like every category. Pretty much it was those 2 kids. And, I'm was really excited about their growth, not only throughout the year last year, but then going into this year. They both have worked really, really hard, and expectations are high for them. I think they can really, really build on the success they had last year. as we kind of move forward. But, you know, I think Claire had a great year, 4th in the league in scoring. I think with the extra people we have and the additions to the team, we're hoping that her life could be a little bit easier this year in terms of the types of shots she got and the type of impact she had. And then Sierra, I think she's our primary ball handler, and she's actually grown quite a bit from last year, which I'm really excited about, and I think she'll have a huge year and be very impactful for us.
Of the newcomers, who do you think will have the greatest impact this year and why?
Well, we have 2 of them, 2 that transferred in and sat out last year. You know, Jatisha Hansen and Simone Brown. Both are transfers, both sat out last year, and they're already integrated in the system because of that. But they both bring a lot of athleticism, versatility, and physicality to our team. So I think they'll both have huge impacts in what we do and have a lot to do with how successful we are this year.
The University of North Florida will try and move up the ladder in the ASUN this year, again behind Claire Ioannidis and others. They open up the season on Friday, November 11th against FAMU. Let's turn to number 3 in our preseason poll. Stetson University has had 20-win seasons in 6 straight campaigns, and in each, they've gone to the postseason. Can they make it 7 straight? Well, joining us now is Lynn Bria, the head coach at Stetson University. And Lynn, give us an idea as to this year's team, the quality it has, and what would allow it to go back to the postseason once again.
Well, I think going back is very much possible for this team. We have everybody returning from last year's team. We've added some really good talent, some good pieces to that. So if I don't mess them up coaching, then I think we have a really good shot to go back. But I think one of the main things, though, for this year's team that we've got to do a lot better is defensively. We just got to do a better job of getting stops and just being a much better team in that regard. But I do think we've added some pieces that'll help us to possibly go back into another postseason.
You also have the preseason player of the year in Brianti Saunders. What has she meant to the program, and how do you think she's grown maybe from watching her in the preseason?
Well, it'll take a long time to tell you what she's meant to our program. She started every game since her freshman year. And, you know, certainly having her, preseason all player of the year certainly helps us. But, I think she does so many things well. One thing about Bree is she is just relentless in her pursuit of not just winning, but winning every drill, winning in everything. And she does that in practice. She does it in games, but she just never stops. And I think she's just a player that hungers to get better. So she's just been a real joy for me to coach, and she's a great teammate as well.
I'm sure she's had an influence on 2 standout freshmen from a year ago, McKenna Beach and Myra Johnson-Matthews. How have they grown into their sophomore season?
Well, McKenna is just, she's the ultimate point guard. I mean, she is just terrific. She runs our offense just great. And, Micah and her both, I mean, they have a lot of minutes under their belt. And I think they've just really helped us, not just helped us as a coaching staff, but helped our younger players as well to bring them along.
And we'll see how Stetson does in pursuit of that 7th consecutive postseason berth. Again, as you can see, they've got a lot of scoring returning, and they'll open up on November 11th against Weber International. Next up is FGCU. They've won the regular season in the ASUN 6 consecutive years. Can they make it 7 under head coach Carl Semesco? Carl, give us an idea what types of things your program needs to do to make it 7 consecutive years at the top of the ASUN.
Well, we have a lot of new players, and just getting them to learn the system and learn how to play with one another and play with the type of attitude and intensity that we expect from our team. So it'll be a challenge, but I'm really excited about the challenge.
What does it say about your program, the fact that you're picked 2nd by the coaches, 1st by the media, when you've lost 8 players from a year ago?
Yeah, I would say that's really unusual to lose 80+% of your scoring and rebounding and blocks and steals and assists and still be picked 1st and 2nd. But I think there's an expectation within our program that we're going to, play at a high level. It's just a matter of how quickly we can get there.
Among the players who are returning is Taylor Gradingen. Give us an idea as to what you're expecting from her on the floor in terms of points and also from a leadership standpoint.
Well, yeah, she's been in our program 4 years. She's missed 2 seasons due to injury, but she's an excellent player. She's playing better than ever at this point during practice. She's been excellent, tremendous shooter. She can take it to the basket and score. Her passing has really improved this year, really making good decisions with the ball. And then, being somebody who's been in the program so long, and we don't have that many returners, she has to take a leadership role and let other players on the team know what our expectations are.
From a motivational standpoint, how important is it for her and the other kids who are returning to get back to the NCAAs after being in the NIT last year?
Well, we have a lot of new players. They weren't really a part of last year's NIT run, with the exception of a couple players. I think they just want to be able to win as many games as possible, especially do well in the Atlantic Sun, and put us in a position where we have an opportunity to return to the NCAA tournament.
Of the new players, Jordan Alexander of Brown is a kind of fifth-year player. Give us an idea what you're expecting from her at the top of that group that's coming in.
Yeah, Jordan was a second-team all-conference player at Brown in the Ivy League, and she's just a really talented player. She can get to the basket, really good attacks to the basket. She can shoot it. She's just a good all-around player. We added her as a graduate transfer, so she's eligible right away. We added another graduate transfer in Michaela McGee, who's also a very good player. And even though we added talented freshmen, we also added a couple junior college players who have college experience. Rose Julian, Erica Nelson, they're both very good players. So now it's just more teach them our system in a short period of time.
FGCU will look to chase another crown in the Atlantic Sun regular season when they begin play on November 11th in non-conference action in Connecticut at Quinnipiac. At the top is Jacksonville University. They won the ASUN tournament last season, and now they're picked to win the regular season. Their head coach is Yolette McPhee-McEwen, affectionately known as Coach Yo on Twitter. And first of all, what did it mean to win the championship last year for your program?
Yeah, I mean, it was just huge for us to have the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament and represent the Atlantic Sun. It was just a great experience. It being the first time in the history of the program, it meant a lot to the university in itself, the community of Jacksonville. And we were just excited to be the ones that were able to bring that type of joy.
And now you're trying to bring more of it. You got a jump start in your season by going to the Bahamas, where you're the national team coach. What did that experience mean to you and your kids?
I mean, it was tremendous. I really think it allowed us to bond, with the new people. This is not the same team. We're not trying to repeat. And because I think you can only repeat if you have the same people. And so we have new members to our team. And so it gave us a chance to come together. And the 10 practices were a bonus because we were way ahead of schedule as far as, where we want to be offensively and defensively.
And you mentioned adding those kids to the program. They also have to learn what you do off the court, too.
Yeah.
How important is what they do in the classroom and also community service?
I mean, it's the standard here. It's the type of culture that we've tried to create. They know coming in that they're going to be in the community every month. They know that the expectation for the GPA is at least a 3.0, and that's something that we want to continue to improve on every year.
You've got a lot of returning players in addition to the newcomers. Is Sharonda Reddick the engine of your team, and if not, who is?
I would like to say that Sharonda is. It's great when your best player is your hardest worker, and she. So, I think that's fair to say that she is the engine, but we have an anchor with Kimberly Dawkins, and she's just phenomenal defensively, and we don't go without her. Offensively is not her strength, but what she does for us defensively, we just can't replace right now.
And of the newcomers, who has the chance to contribute immediately and in what way?
I think our freshman, one of our freshmen, Alexis Burns, is going to be dynamic on the wing. I just like the fact that she's so athletic and tough, and she can score. In the post, Shalonda Neely, she was a redshirt freshman, so she had a year under her belt as far as practice is concerned, and she's looking very good in practice every day. I would like to say those two.
Well, we'll see if Jacksonville University can make it a regular season championship this year. Again, they have a very experienced group going into 2016-17. The 32nd season of ASUN women's basketball tips on November 11th with 7 ASUN teams in action. 3 of those games can be seen on the ESPN family of networks, and the entire conference slate is available on the Watch ESPN app for the 3rd straight season, culminating with the championship game airing on ESPN3 Sunday, March 12th. Connect with the league throughout the season on Twitter at ASUNWBB using the hashtag WeCan.